I woke up to find I'd swapped bodies with my husband's lover. I woke up to find that I had swapped bodies with a strange woman. Before I could react, I was rolled over and hugged by a man, and I turned my head. If it isn't my husband, Alex, who's on a business trip. I was awakened by a beam of early morning sunlight, and when I opened my eyes, I was confused by the sudden sight of pink curtains. The curtains in my family room are bright yellow. I looked around the room again. The nightstand with the dresser, the rocking chair in the corner, the pink closet, the different structures. This isn't my room. Where am I? I almost jumped in shock. Suddenly there was a weight on my waist, an arm wrapped around me. My body was held. The man's breath was in my ear, and he murmured, "Luna, what time is it? Why does that sound so familiar? Who's Luna again? Is he talking to me?" I turned my head to see that the man who had caught my eye was actually my husband, Alex. My eyes widened in disbelief. Didn't he tell me he was on a business trip to the next city? I shook him awake, and as he looked at me sleepily, seemingly in disbelief, I questioned him, "Alex, aren't you on a business trip in southern states?" He narrowed his eyes and looked at me with a furrowed brow and said, "Luna, are you crazy? You're forgetting that this is an excuse for me to lie to Emily. How else am I supposed to be with you?" His words exploded in my head. Emily is me. And he lied to me about being on a business trip and then got together with this Luna? He cheated? I barely got a breath. My blood kept churning up, straight to the sky, and I raised my hand and snapped and slapped him in the face. Alex was dumbfounded by my beating and covered her face with rage as she asked me, "What are you doing hitting me this early in the morning?" I was confused. He called me Luna, and a look at the furnishings in the room suggests that I'm not Emily. Suddenly, all the memories of this body's original body flooded my mind, and I was forced to receive them while pretending to be calm. It took a while for that discomfort to go away. I hurriedly withdrew my hand and forced myself to hold back my anger, unfolding a smiling face and said, "I dreamed that you really went to Nanjo, just to see if it's true. Did you lie to me?" I'm going to calm down before I say anything because I don't know why I've turned into Luna, a woman I don't know. Seeing me like this, Alex still looked at me a little skeptically. I smiled at him, then kissed him on the cheek and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm afraid to hit myself. I'm afraid of the pain." Actually, I'm not like that. I've never been a pussy. I've never said anything so mushy. But this body was made naturally. Alex then believed me and barfed on my face as well, saying, "I'm going to go wash up, then go get you breakfast while you sleep a little longer." With that, he went to the bathroom, and then came the sound of him shuffling. "Buy breakfast? Let me sleep in a little longer?" Alex was never like that. I'm the one who gets up and makes breakfast when he's at home, so he can sleep in a little more. And now he's being so nice to this woman I never got. It was a cold moment for me. I looked around and saw an unfamiliar face in the dresser mirror. She was young, only in her mid-20s, and even in her pajamas, she was sexy and flirtatious. Unlike me, Emily, who is unattractive and curmudgeonly and boring. If I were a man, I'd probably pick this woman in the mirror too. But what the hell is going on here? Why did I become her? But if it doesn't turn out to be her, I'm afraid I won't even realize he's cheated on me. After all, I trusted him so much. He came over and kissed me right after he washed up. I kind of dodged it, but gave it to him anyway. I was afraid he'd get suspicious. When he was gone, I started to look the home over and then grabbed my cell phone from the nightstand. This is Luna's cell phone, not mine. I opened her cell phone password from memory and tapped on Facebook. Found her chats with Alex, so many, it's impossible to go through them all. But Alex's cell phone, which I've looked at on occasion, is obviously clean and has nothing on it. Now, I think it should have been emptied by him. The more I looked at their chats, the more alarmed and cold I became. "Darling, I want strawberries, buy some. Darling, I miss you, come back soon. Every time you come home, I miss you so much, and just the thought of you in bed with that ugly woman makes me so sad. That ugly woman is me. He replies to all of these she sends, saying he misses her too and will be back sooner or something like that. I fought back my trembling hand and continued to scroll up to when they first met and she asked him if he was single. What did he say? He said, "I'm married, but I don't love her. It's only a matter of time before I get a divorce." Scrolling a little further, I saw one dated February 14th for Valentine's Day. My eyes couldn't help but widen. Luna asked him, "Honey, are you almost there? I've been sitting in the cafeteria for a long time. If I don't come, I'll go on a date with someone else." "It's almost here, baby. Just wait a few more minutes. I'll surprise you later," Alex said back to her in a doting tone. But didn't he say he was working late that day? After waiting for him to come back late, I was pregnant and wanted a drink of water, not realizing that I had accidentally fallen. The mother-in-law who disliked me was also absent and often went out to play without seeing anyone. By the time Alex came back in the early hours of the morning, I was unconscious in a pool of blood and was taken to the hospital to be revived. The baby could not be saved. I was in so much pain, I lost my child, and all I did was cry every day during that time, and I went through the motions, and it's been 6 months, and I still haven't gotten over it. I pressed my trembling fingers to click on Luna's circle of friends and realized it was all about showing love to Alex, and flipped to the day of February 14th, and sure enough, she posted it too. Pictures of Luna holding roses, wearing a ring on her hand, coquettishly looking at the camera. Her hands and arms are Alex gave the surprise, with the text wrote, "I wish you all a happy Valentine's Day AC. Happy Mom." It turns out that all the overtime was fake, and so was the business trip. I was shaking, I was pregnant with his child, and they actually dated in secret, causing me to miscarry and lose my own child. He gives surprises I've never had before. And I was full of joy to give him children. What an innocent death, my child. I dropped to both knees and cried my heart out. This pair of dogs, I won't let you go. I hurriedly got up and cleaned myself up. I didn't know what was going to happen next. I just had to muddle through the Alex in front of me. When I finished cleaning up, I looked at my bright face in the mirror and I couldn't help but touch it. It's really young and smooth. I'd kind of like it if she hadn't stolen my husband. The door lock slammed and my whole body shuddered as I looked at Alex, who came through the door. I wanted to rush up and slap him again, but I held back. "Luna, I know you like xiaolongbao. I specially ran 2 blocks to buy them for you. Come and eat." Alex pulled me from the dresser to the dining table, picked up a xiaolongbao and brought it to my mouth. I don't like xiaolongbao. I resisted the urge to eat one, then looked up and asked him, "When are you going back?" He froze at my question and looked at me a little puzzled and said, "The day after tomorrow. I told Emily I'd be gone for 4 days on business. I'll be yours for those 4 days." He even came over and kissed my face when he finished. A wave of nausea washed over me. "Darling, you lie to her every time you go on a business trip, but you actually come to keep me company. Aren't you afraid she'll find out?" I asked, holding back my nausea and pretending to be curious. I'm actually shaking inside like a sieve. Alex ate a bite of bun, contemptuous back to me. She can be stupid. Otherwise it has been almost 2 years how she did not find out. Besides, even if she finds out, I'm not afraid. She's the one who's afraid of divorce, not me anyway. I got a cold chill down my spine and asked, "How so?" "Because she doesn't have a mother's family. She has no one to turn to. Where is she going to go without me?" Alex's unconcerned tone drifted over. "Yes, that's my Emily's greatest weakness. I don't have a strong backing allowing me to walk out of my marriage. So when are you getting a divorce?" "I can't wait for you forever, can I?" "Honey," I asked tentatively, "didn't she miscarry a child? Let's take it easy for a while." "Don't worry, Luna, it won't take long. I'll have my mom rehire and marry you, and then she likes you so much anyway." Alex looked at me and gave a promise. I was shocked to find out that that mother-in-law of mine knew. Seeing how shocked I was, "What's the matter, stupid? Or don't you believe me?" "Don't worry, my mom has money. I know my mother-in-law is rich. Their family is relatively wealthy, so at first everyone said I was lucky in my past life to marry into their Sioux family. Of course not. I'm just so happy. But honey, why don't you go home this time? I just got a call to go overtime for a bit. There's so much information. I'm going to calmly digest it myself. Alex was surprised. He looked at me a little upset and said, "Go ahead then, I'll wait for you at home." I don't want to go back. I said I was traveling for 4 days. When I heard him say that, my anger went straight to the sky. He used to rush out the door and wouldn't even let him stay home with me for a bit, let alone be waiting for me. This current status drove him away more than he wanted to. If I hadn't clenched my fists so hard, I'm afraid I'd have slapped myself across the face again, the pain in my palms reminding me to calm down. I forced a smile on my face and told him, "Okay, thanks honey. I'm going out then." After that I grabbed my bag and headed out the door. I hadn't been to this place before and almost couldn't find the exit, so I had to walk down the street from memory. Looking down the street at the traffic, I crouched on the ground a bit bewildered. My husband cheated on me and I swapped bodies with my mistress. What do I do next? I went to the office. Luna, working as a salesgirl in a real estate company. No wonder she's so young and sexy, because in this business itself you need women like that for the house to sell better. I just arrived at the office and before I could react, a girl ran over to me and asked me mysteriously, "Luna, why are you here at the office? Didn't you say that Alex came to see you to stay with him for a few days?" I was shocked. She actually knew about Alex? I thought about it and remembered as if I had bragged about it to them because Alex was from a good family and they all thought I had made the big money list. Turns out Alex is all but a public presence in Luna's circle of friends. I smiled awkwardly. "I'll get something." With that I headed over to Luna's spot. I turned on my computer and flipped around aimlessly until I came to a folder. It's got a lot of photos and videos stored in it. I opened it up and it was all pictures of Alex and her together, normal and not so normal. For example, the video of the bed. My mouth grew in shock. I couldn't believe it. Looking at the two entwined bodies, I vomited in disgust into the nearby trash can. I rushed out and bought a flash drive in the neighborhood, copied all of these things, and hid the flash drive. All of this will be evidence that I screwed them. There was a sudden message on my cell phone Facebook, a friend request. I looked at the avatar. Isn't that my Facebook? I clicked on it to double check, and it was my Facebook number. I froze for a moment before responding. It must be that Luna is in my body and has figured out that she switched bodies with me and wants to add me. I ignored her. Just let her stay with my awesome mother-in-law for now. It was almost evening before I got home, and just as I was about to enter, I heard laughter coming from inside. I froze. Wasn't Alex the only one in the house? By the time I entered, I saw a couple and Alex sitting in the house, and they were getting ready to eat. When I came in, the middle-aged woman came over and hugged me with a big smile on her face. My Luna is back. I glanced at the two men behind me and it hit me all at once. They're Luna's parents. "Luna, you weren't here when my aunts and uncles came, so I just cooked some random treats, so come and help out." Alex called out to me. "It's because we came so suddenly and Alex didn't know. Go help." Luna's father told me and pushed me into the kitchen. I bet the whole family knows that Luna and Alex are together. Don't they know Alex is married? I held back my questions and went into the kitchen to help out with the dishes, trying not to say too much for fear of saying too much. Once the meal was on the table, Alex poured wine for Linshi's father, Linshi's mother, and greeted them with their food. They all ate happily, and I hated it inside. Alex is so disgusting, all with the mistress parents already getting along. "Alex, when are you going to divorce and marry Luna?" Linshi's father suddenly asked. Turns out they knew. Their own daughter is being a mistress and they don't object? Linshi's mother was also asking Alex. "Yeah, Alex, you've been with Luna for almost 2 years. You can't keep her waiting, can you?" I duly bowed my head, feigning shyness. I'd love to know how Alex answered them. "Auntie and uncle, I understand. I will do it as soon as possible, no more than 6 months at the most. and I have crossed the clear path on my mom's side, so please don't worry." Alex stood up and swore to them that he would divorce me, Emily. If they hadn't kept their heads down, they would have been able to notice the anger in my eyes at this point, and they couldn't even hide it anymore. "Luna, what's wrong with you? The cup is almost crushed by you." Lindsay's mother suddenly looked at me with a concerned face. I sniffed and looked at my whitened fingertips, still not hiding my emotions properly. I hurriedly let go of my glass and stood up, blushing as I told them I was so nervous. I was afraid he would answer that he wouldn't marry me. Alex came over to live and took my hand and promised, in front of my aunt and uncle today, "I promise you that I will marry you." I whispered back, "Good." "Oh, you're going to regret this." I was in the kitchen cleaning up with Lindsay's mother, who kept brainwashing me about how I must hold on to Alex, a rich man. Luna's family is from the country and rents a house in the city. Alex isn't too rich in the city, but it's way better than Luna's family. That's when her living room phone rang and she asked me to go get it in for her. Alex and Lindsay's father went out on the balcony for a smoke, not being there. As I reached for my phone, I suddenly saw a message displayed on the interface that was a bit strange. The message was, "When are you coming back? I miss you." Isn't Lindsay's father right there on the balcony? Then who sent it to her? I kept a watchful eye and handed my cell phone to Lindsay's mother first. She looked away, then the corners of her mouth turned up to show a hint of sweetness before realizing something later and looking at me again. I hurriedly looked up to wipe the hood. It was too late in the day for the two of them to leave, and the house was not large, but it happened to have 2 rooms, and they slept in the guest room. When Lindsay's mother went in to take a shower, I casually picked up her cell phone and played with it. Lindsay's father and Alex didn't notice anything wrong and thought it was normal for their daughter to have a little fun with her mother's cell phone, right? Nowadays, many cell phones of middle-aged and old people don't have passwords, so I quickly opened Facebook and found the person who had just sent a message to Lindsay's mother. The messages are still there, though not many, just 2 sentences plus a transfer message, so it looks like all the previous chats have been deleted cleanly. The man asked when Lindsay's mother was going back, saying he missed her. Then asked if there was any money to lend him some. That fool, Lindsay's mother, really transferred $2,000. I hurriedly took a picture of it with my cell phone and saved it. I used to hear that there must be a mother and a daughter, and I did not believe it, but now I realize that with such a mother, it is not surprising that her daughter would still do so even though she knows that she is the third party. I wonder how Lindsay's father should react when he finds out about this? At night, Alex wanted to be intimate with me, and I made the excuse that I was embarrassed that my parents were there and didn't let me. He's so dirty. I'm disgusted. He had to lie down next to him in a lost state, muttering, "What about the opportunity that was so hard to come by, and then he has to go back the day after tomorrow?" I turned around and slapped him across the face, and he was dumbfounded. I knew I had no reason to hit him, but I just couldn't help myself and did it first. After the fight, I told him again, "Who told you not to divorce and marry me earlier? I'm suffocating." He was still angry, but when he heard me say that, he wasn't angry anymore. In turn, he consoled me by saying, "I'm sorry, Luna, for putting you through this." I pushed him away and kicked him right off the bed. With a thud, he fell with a straight grin and stood up full of anger, pointing at me and looking at Lindsay's father, Lindsay's mother in the next room. He could only lower his voice and question me, "Luna, what are you doing?" I laughed coldly in my heart, but my face unfolded a smile, went over to hold his face and said, "I can't bear to see you go back. Think of you going back to sleep with that woman. I'm so angry, so I want to hit you. Otherwise, I feel too bad. I just love you too much." I sickened myself with that statement. Alex, however, was very flattered and immediately stopped being angry. He grabbed my hand and said, well, don't be hard on yourself. I'll speed things up and get divorced as soon as I can to marry you, okay?" I responded in kind, then gave him another hard, deadening pinch with my hand on his waist. Alex thought I was having another tantrum and rushed to calm me down. Oh, that's a good face to use. If you did that with Emily's body, I'm afraid he'd have cursed you to death. The next day we were awakened by a tight knock on the door. I didn't want to get up. I had insomnia all night, and it was hard to fall asleep until almost dawn. I told Alex to go and he rubbed his eyes and went to open the door. I ended up waking up to the sound of a slap, and I got up and was confused. My body, Emily's body, appeared at the door. It's Luna in the body now. She's looking for it. She slapped Alex, then angrily questioned him. Why didn't you text me back last night? Alex felt dumbfounded, as if he'd been struck by lightning. Of course he won't reply. I had insomnia last night, and when I saw his Facebook ring, I brought it over to check it. Saw Luna send him a lot of Facebook messages, probably saying that she somehow became Emily and got slapped in the face for arguing with my mother-in-law or something like that. I had a great time reading it and then deleted the message. Seeing that I was standing behind Alex, she saw me and came straight at me trying to come at me, and how was I going to let her? I just dodged out of the way and slapped her, questioning her, "Who are you? Why did you come to my house and spill your guts?" I simply come to nothing. She was confused by my punch and covered her face as she looked at me, puzzled. "You're not Emily? Then why are you with Alex?" Alex came back to his senses at this point and pulled Luna in front of me, shielding her from me and saying, "What are you doing here?" "Alex, don't you remember me? I'm Luna," she cried, running up and pulling Alex's arm. Alex stared at her, then at me, then said, "Are you crazy? You're clearly Emily." "Is she Emily?" I asked weakly, pretending to be scared and hiding behind Alex. As far as I can remember, Luna really hasn't met me, only that Alex has a wife, Emily. Alex awkwardly replied back to me, "Yes." Luna, she couldn't help it. She was directly going to rush over and hit me again, cursing all the while. "You bitch. Who are you? Why did you take my body? Give me back my body, I'll beat you to death." Alex shielded me and I didn't get hit. But Luna was beaten by Lindsay's father. I heard slaps and saw Lindsay's mother yanking Luna's hair and Lindsay's father slapping her while cursing, "You dare to hit my daughter? I'll kill you first. I'll kill you first." Lindsay's mother was gripping her hair with one hand and pinching her desperately with the other. Beaten by your own parents? If it wasn't the wrong occasion, I'd want a ha 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 ha. Luna was slapped several times and choked and winced on her body. She was screaming and saying, don't fight, I'm your daughter Luna." Her words did the trick, and Lindsay's father, Lindsay's mother, stopped. Lindsay's father asked her, "What did you just say?" Lynn cried against his highly swollen face, "I'm Luna, Mom and Dad." I rushed over and kicked her in the ass. "Alex just said you're Emily and you have the nerve to impersonate me. Think my parents are stupid?" Lindsay's father, Lindsay's mother looked at her, and then at me, then as if she was sure, scolded her, "Beat my daughter and still say she's my daughter. Where did you come from? Go back to where you came from." I wasn't good looking in my original body, and now that I've been beaten up, I'm even worse looking. How can Lindsay's father, Lindsay's mother not believe she's Luna? Not to mention the fact that I'm standing here in all my glory. It hurts to look at her face, and thankfully with the body swap the pain is hers, not mine. Alex came out at this time to make peace and said, "Auntie and Uncle, don't be angry. She's still my wife no matter what. Don't fight." Luna looked at me with eyes that looked like they were hardened with poison. Bitch, home-wrecking bitch." Luna cursed towards me, her teeth flailing. I laughed. Is she in the wrong role? She herself is the family-destroying mistress. Isn't she running into the body of the original partner and thinking of herself as the original partner? You're just taking your place. I'm the one Alex loves. I finished and looked at her provocatively. She was so pissed off at me that she was going to rush over and hit me again. Before he could rush to me, Alex slapped me and said, "Don't embarrass yourself here, get back in there." Even though it was Luna who hit her, her body was mine, and that was said to me. The original spouse caught the mistress and ended up being beaten by her husband. Luna tried to say something else and looked at Linchi's father, Linchi's mother, who kept calling mom and dad, only to be treated as if they were crazy. Both of them always stood by my side to protect me. Her own parents defended an outsider from beating her and wondered how she felt when she saw it. But is that enough? That's never enough. In the first official round, Luna lost and was taken home by Alex. How to go back to the mess? I'm sure Alex will tell me about it. Linchi's father, Linchi's mother, also went back to her rented house, and I was home by myself. The next day, I went to work at the company. She had this sales job I couldn't actually do. I was sitting in my seat at a loss for words when Facebook went off. It was from one of Luna's clients who said they wanted to see the house, but wanted to meet and talk before that. It just so happened that a female coworker came by and was a little surprised to see this. Said that this client was married but very rich, and many colleagues wanted to handle this client, but I didn't expect him to choose Luna. But dealing with this client could be bad publicity. I asked her why. She said that because he was so rich, he was always looking for women outside, and his wife was strict. Because there was a female colleague who got close to this man in order to sell her house. She was beaten up by the original spouse, and she resigned after losing face. I was inspired. Losing face, are we? That's great. I'll take her skin and make Luna quit in disgrace and get the hell out of here. This guy can still make me kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I started agreeing to his invitations. I lusted after him and told him that I could only have sex with him once I bought the house. And then deliberately cold on him. Women who are too proactive aren't cute. I've been fighting with him for the past few days of time, and it's so exhausting trying to get him to buy a house and not letting him eat me. I'm not at all good at dealing with wily old men, and I could have gotten Luna's reputation in a different way, but I also wanted to get this order closed so I could make some money as a fallback. Alex, I don't know if he's been convinced by Luna, hasn't contacted me in the last few days. I was just thinking about what to do when Alex messaged me, said he'd come to see me in the evening. I packed some random meals to go back. I wasn't going to serve him again, and he wasn't going to have another meal that I cooked. He came a little haggard, with a face so heavy it could have dripped. I froze. He wouldn't know, would he? He kept looking at me for a while before he spoke. She just went crazy and kept saying she was Luna when she got back, and when I didn't believe her, she kept hitting me and breaking my phone. Speaking of which, I just realized that he did change his cell phone. The back of the room was even afraid of me going out and locked me in my room for a day with no cell phone, so if my mom hadn't come back, I really don't know how long she would have kept me there. She's crazy, Alex said, and couldn't help but hammer the table. I laughed coldly in my heart and pretended to care about him, asking, "Then how did you get out? Did she hurt you?" He touched my hand and said, "My mom is helping me." My mom came back and found me locked up for the day, blew a gasket, beat her up, and then let me out. It's really a dog-eat-dog situation. Luna, it's still you. You're beautiful and gentle, Alex said and tried to come and hug me. I ducked out of the way, feeling so disgusted. I'll show you that my gentleness goes away too. Alex simply stopped going home and just stayed here. Luna is desperately trying to use my Facebook to add me again, and I keep disagreeing that I'm going to be so angry at her that she'll have nowhere to take out her anger. I took the oxycodone because I didn't want to be intimate with Alex again. I told that client to try to buy the house while thinking of ways to give Alex a bad name. That old man is just not easy to handle, and he doesn't seem to buy it until you sweeten the pot a little. I thought about how I couldn't accept it if I really had to sleep with him. It wasn't my body, but it felt like it was mine, and I didn't want to push myself. So I simply swing for the fences. I'm just going to ignore him. He can buy whatever he wants. You want to say that men are cheap? That's true. Maybe I'm so lucky that he chased after me instead after I swung for the fences. Because he has sensed that I don't want his business. He came straight to me and said he wanted to buy, and still buy, the $20 million villa I recommended. But after he bought it, he had to promise to go to a hotel with him. I was a little surprised and casually said, "After I get my commission then." I hung him out to dry after he bought it. The next day, I took a day off work and ran to Alex's flat. He works in a business unit, and his colleagues in the unit know that he has a wife and have even met her. Now that he's not divorced, he doesn't dare to blatantly bring Luna out in public. I deliberately dressed sexy to his unit downstairs to send him a message. He trembled, sneaked down, pulled me aside in the hallway, questioned me. "Why did you come? How come you didn't say hello?" I took his arm and kept shaking it, snickering, "Honey, I didn't send you a message." She looked around, lowered her voice, and said to me, "That's too late. You're already here. Next time don't come running over here like that. It's not good if someone sees you." Ha ha, so he's so afraid of being caught in an affair. That's good. I think I know what to do from now on. I pretended to be submissive and agree with him, but my body kept pulling him out. He didn't move and pulled me inside. His face went white and he almost begged me, "Luna, stop it, okay? You hurry home. I'll go back for you first thing after work and buy you a present." I immediately stopped at the right moment and said to him, "Well then, I'll go first. After that I'm gone." I'm finding it easier and easier to use it on Luna's body. Instead of going home, I went to the biggest town square and was going to just walk around and hang out. I went into a luxury bag storefront, ready to get my commission and treat myself. I've never been able to please myself. Even after marrying Alex, I couldn't afford to buy an expensive bag. This time the commission will be $390,000 without incident. I took a look at it, and even though I was mentally prepared for it, I was still taken aback by the expensive price tag. I suddenly don't want to buy it. The lowest price is over $10,000, and I'm heartbroken. As I was about to walk out of the store, I suddenly heard a familiar voice as she said, "Wrap this up for me." It's my wonderful mother-in-law. I instinctively wanted to run away because I was used to being disliked and bullied by her before and was always afraid of her. Just about to leave the store, I see the heels on my feet and realize I'm not that weak Emily anymore. I turned around, unfolded a smile, walked over to my mother-in-law and told her, "Auntie, what are you doing here?" The mother-in-law was wearing lipstick and had a big mouth as if it were a bloody mouth, which was very scary. She stared at me for a while, then suddenly jumped up and said, "Luna, why are you here? Don't you have to work?" My heart sank when I saw how well they knew each other. Hateful mother and son. Was I blind before, treating them like babies? I hurriedly withdrew my hatred and laughed. "I just wanted to come and see if there is a suitable bag for Auntie, so I can buy you one when I get paid. I just sold a villa. The commission is $390,000. Sure enough, women love to take advantage, especially middle-aged and older women. As soon as she heard it, she was so happy that she couldn't stop talking and said, "Luna, you are so thoughtful, not at all like that ugly woman at home, who has no money and is still ugly, and has been acting weird lately, saying strange things. I've put her in the small guest room. As soon as they get divorced, I'll let Alex marry you." Wow, thank you so much, Auntie. I really want to get the commission to buy you a bag now. I almost threw up myself when I said that. Let's wait until you get your commission, Luna. Which one do you like now? Auntie will buy you one as a gift. Once she was done watching the clerks admire her generosity, she looked smug. I mentally cursed her for being an idiot. I knew her character, that's why I tried to knock her off by tempting her with a big profit to send a bag first. I pretended to be flattered and hugged her arm and called her Auntie, then went to choose a 20,000 plus bag and said to her, Auntie, you're really too good to me. I'll buy you a more expensive one than this one when I get my commission." She kept saying yes and yes and yes, and was so lost in her good dreams that she didn't realize that I was just painting her a big picture. Buy her a bag? You'd better buy her a coffin. After buying the bag, she offered to buy me dinner again. I said no, I have to go to work and try to get more commissions. She was so happy to hear it that she went home with joy. Because with being scared of being shut down by Luna, Alex didn't even go home. He was all over me, and when I came in for my period, he held me purely to sleep. Seems to really plan on marrying Luna right after the divorce. After half a month, when the paychecks and commissions came in, I just stopped going to work. I'm not sorry to lose half a month's pay. It also offended the boss and scolded him for a long time because of it. After 2 days and heard coworkers told me that the old man's original wife wanted to bring people to the company to find me, but the results pounced, angry return. The next day that old man also went to the company to look for, or did not find, know that I resigned and left, and then went to find people to smash the company. The boss was pissed off too, and the old man blew up, a mess. My boss was so angry that he told my peers to block me. Now Luna's image is ruined, and she has a bad reputation. I set out to find a capable person, just to see if I could change my body back. I couldn't live in Luna's body for the rest of my life, could I? It's weirdly useful though. But I'm already ruining everything for her. I hate her. I was home every day after I didn't work, and Alex was a little confused and asked why I quit my job. I said the job was bad and I was constantly being harassed. Alex exploded with anger, pulling me up still tight in his arms. You're mine. You're mine. I laughed. So concerned? That's good. I deleted all my friend circles about him cleanly, and then posted one late one night that I had lost my love and was back to being single. Sure enough, it didn't take long for a lot of men to comment and like, and several to chat privately. I don't pick and choose, I talk about everything. Luna is so beautiful and has so many male customers that she's had about 10 private conversations. I purposely don't lock Facebook and keep my phone at random. As expected, after 2 days after I got out of the shower, I saw Alex looking at me with anger, pinning me against the wall and holding my cell phone and questioning me. Say, who are these guys? Still playing the bully? I sneered in my heart. I casually glanced over and several men on Facebook were messaging me, some saying they missed me, some asking what I was doing. What a hoot. I smiled at Alex. I'm out of work. I'm trying to get a job referral. Alex's anger hadn't subsided yet, and he huffed and puffed at me. You're not allowed to find another man. Isn't it enough that I'm supporting you? I looked at him and said in a weak voice, okay. Enough is enough, honey. Is this enough? It's not enough. I'll show you what betrayal means. Next, I went to his flat again during work hours. This time, I didn't send Facebook, and still wearing my low-necked top and thigh-length skirt, I went straight upstairs. I couldn't find him, and I made a point of asking all the way up there. By the time I found his office, everyone was sizing me up curiously. Alex felt like he'd been hit with a stick when he saw me and didn't move a muscle. I waltzed in, walked up to him, and even gave him a kiss and said, "Honey, I brought you a snack," he said, and put the box of Xiaolong Bao I bought on his table. Alex, completely dumbfounded, reacted by pulling me out of the room, and I was pulled along the way while watching. All of their unit's coworkers were looking at us, each with an expression of eating a melon. I laughed out loud in my mind. Now Alex is finished, isn't he? By the time we stopped, we were downstairs. He was shaking with anger and raised his hand to hit me. I dodged, and he missed, getting even more angry. Ask me, why did you suddenly come to my place of work? Why? Why? Do you know you're hurting me? I looked at him innocently. I think we're getting married soon. Isn't it normal for me to come to you? I just wanted to bring you some snacks. Alex spun around in place, his anger not subsiding at all, and growled, but I'm not divorced yet? That would be marital infidelity. That's going to cost me my job. Oh, yeah? So he knows after all? All right then, we're breaking up. And you don't come looking for me anymore. I said and turned around, resisting the urge to laugh out loud, and ran off in a huff. I wasn't going to act with him anymore either. I was going to kick him out as fast and as hard as I could. In the evening, I Facebooked a random guy out for coffee at the fanciest cafe. I also stopped by and bought a bouquet of flowers and took pictures of them while I was drinking my coffee. Sent a circle to a friend with the text, "Enjoy the good times." Located the location, by the way. A little over half an hour after the friend's circle went out, Alex did appear before us as I expected, his eyes scarlet and looking like he wanted to eat us all. The man across from me tried to get up and ask what he was up to when Alex punched him down on the couch, bleeding from the corner of his mouth. Not to be outdone, he stood up and punched Alex as well, before wrestling with each other. There were screaming bodies all around me, and I stood up, though my mouth kept screaming, "Don't fight, don't fight." But in the back of your mind you think, fight it, fight it, fight it longer. Someone should have called the police, and it didn't take long for them to arrive and take all three of us away. Because there was surveillance at the cafe, Alex started the fight and beat the guy up. The evidence was overwhelming, and he was detained for 15 days and fined $10,000. You also have to pay for the other party's medical expenses, damages, and so on. Alex's entire body was dumbfounded when he found out the result, and his mouth kept saying, "Finished, finished, finished." I know why he's finished. Because of marital infidelity has been known to the unit, and now coupled with the fight was detained, this job can still be saved? I'm sure you can't. The day after my mother-in-law couldn't find Alex, she came to me and asked me what happened. I told her that I was talking to a client about the delivery of the house when Alex came over and beat up the client and was detained. I also told her that it just so happened that this client was the one who bought the villa, and then the client ran to the office and said that she wanted to return the villa and would rather lose the deposit than buy it. There goes my commission. She almost fainted when she heard that her son had been detained for fighting and the gift I had promised her had flown. She couldn't take it in at once. I added another stab and said, "Auntie, maybe we're not meant to be, and Alex and I are kind of broken up, so let's just be strangers from now on." When she heard that, her eyes went white, and she was about to faint when I held her up. "You can't faint in my house. Luna, we've been so good to you. You can't do this to Alex." She cried and pleaded. I said coldly, "I can't help it. Alex broke my heart too much this time. Not only did he not allow me to visit him at the flat, but he also injured my client. I can't forgive him. Auntie, you can go too. Just pretend you don't know me." I opened the door and pushed her out. She was about to say something else when I shut her down. After a while, all that could be heard was her bawling as she walked away. Inside the room, I laughed. During this period of time, one after another, I was contacted by masters who claimed to be able to solve psychic incidents. But after hearing me out, they were not sure, so I had to keep looking again. I didn't visit Alex once during his detention. After I got my mother-in-law out of the way, Luna came to my door. As soon as she saw me, she tried to hit me, so I took a pair of scissors and handed them to her, saying, "Why don't you just use the cut ones? It's not like I own this body anyway. What do you want? What do you want?" She questioned me hopelessly. I laughed and said, "I don't want anything. I just want to destroy you people." "How? It's not good to be me, is it? Husband doesn't love you, mother-in-law hates you, and people don't believe you're Luna. It's not a good feeling, is it?" The more I talk, the more angry she gets, looking at me with eyes like knives, as if they could kill me. "You think that's enough? Let me tell you, it's far from enough. You two sons of bitches caused me to have a miscarriage. I'll make you all pay for it. It's useless for you to stare at me. You might as well go see that scumbag Alex," I said and made a please pose. She looked at me in surprise, but had no choice but to leave in a huff. Looks like she really loves Alex. Then I'm sorry. Alex won't be able to love you even if he gets his body back. Who would love a woman who cost her job and her face? I cleared my head for 2 days, and then I hoofed it and continued to look for someone who could help me change my body. Maybe after being down on my luck before, I finally got lucky and actually got me one. He saw right away that I didn't belong in this body and said he could help, but not at a low price. I thought it was going to be $100,000 or so, but I didn't realize the other guy was offering $1,000. Or do you pay $500 up front and the other half afterward when you succeed? I was momentarily confused. I said $10,000 would be fine as long as I could change it back. The guru said he was just going down for a walk and then he would go back to live in the mountains and didn't need that much money. I'm almost grateful. We agreed on the time and contact information afterwards, and then I transferred all the previous money to my new card in batches, and after everything was ready, I asked Linshi's father, Linshi's mother, to dinner at home. They still don't know I lost my job and kicked Alex out too. During dinner, they kept telling me to rush Alex's divorce, especially Linshi's mother. She said, "Luna, it's rare to find a man who is rich and treats you well, so you have to grab him." To catch? So as not to hurt another woman? How can you be so cruel when you're both women? I was perfunctory while thinking about how I could not move to let Linshi's father know about her cheating. After dinner, Linshi's mother went to wash the dishes, and I took her cell phone on the pretext of going to the bathroom. When I opened Facebook, I realized that their chat had been deleted again. My dad, the guy, found it and sent him an unsolicited message saying, "What's up? I miss you." Then I deleted the record as well. It didn't take a minute for the other guy to message back. Said, "Just laying in bed thinking of you." Another one was sent over saying, "You are not allowed to sleep with your husband at night. You are mine, remember." I was so sick inside I almost threw up in the toilet. You're old enough to be a bully. I hurried out to put my cell phone on the table, and while Linshi's mother was still washing dishes, I called out to Linshi's father, "Dad, Mom's cell phone just lit up for a second. Check to see if there's a message coming in." Linshi's father did not doubt it and picked it up to read it, only to see that the more he looked at his face, the more green, the back of the sinking can drip down the water. Linshi's father was so angry that he stood up and rushed to the kitchen, then grabbed Linshi's mother's clothes and questioned her, "You're hiding deep enough. How dare you steal a man behind my back?" Linshi's mother was startled by the sudden grabbing of her head. When she heard what Linshi's father said again, her face went white and she hurriedly explained, "Old Lin, what are you talking about? I didn't steal anyone." Linshi's father held up her cell phone and laid the chat log in front of her, asking her, "No? Then what is this? You tell me." He pauses and then suddenly remembers something and picks up his own cell phone to look at it, and I rush over to see. Only to see him flip a picture of a chat log from a text message. "Isn't that what I texted him on my new phone? You're just taking it out now?" No wonder I sent it all to him, and nothing has been done. I thought it would have been a big deal long ago. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked them to dinner today. Linshi's father took the picture I sent him and scolded her. "Someone secretly sent me a message before. I didn't believe it, but I didn't think it was true. You also transferred $2,000 to him. You don't know what we're like, do you? Why don't you go to hell for transferring money to an old man?" "I'm not old. I'm younger than you, okay?" Linshi's mother finished speaking before reacting to what she had said, and immediately slapped herself, blaming herself for talking too much. Linshi's father was so angry that he jumped straight to his feet and hit him with an ear scrape and said, "Divorce. Go back and divorce right away. Bitch." Linshi's mother wouldn't let him scold her and began to fight back with her hands and mouth as well, and the two got into a fight in the kitchen. I watched the show from the sidelines without pulling away. They were so oblivious to the fight that they weren't even paying attention. They didn't even stay on my side of the room for the night. They all left with their noses out of joint. The next day, Linshi's mother sent me a message saying that they were divorced and that she was going to marry that old man, saying that she would visit me later. I cried and said, "Yes." Linshi's father, on the other hand, went back to his hometown and also said he would visit me sometime. Actually, thanks really big time. I informed the guru that it would be ready in the next few days, and he told me to be mentally prepared when it rained and thundered. That would be a good time to change bodies. After waiting 2 or 3 days, we finally got a stormy day. The body swap went smoothly as I asked to be swapped and prepared myself mentally. I heard the guru say that the one being forcibly replaced would be in pain, and the discomfort would be severe with the sudden stripping of the body. Whether Luna would be in pain or not, I don't know, but I was okay with it. As soon as I woke up, I was back in the Su family. I immediately contacted the master and paid him the money and an extra 1,000. He walked away with 1,000 thanks. The day after the body swap, Alex was released back. My mother-in-law was overjoyed and rushed to cook many of his favorite dishes. The gaunt Alex didn't move a single chopstick, and there wasn't a ripple in his already somewhat frozen face. It was a long time afterward that I told my mother-in-law, "Mom, I lost my job, and that bitch Luna broke up with me and cuckolded me." Alex went over what had happened before. Upon hearing this, my mother-in-law stood up in shock. "What? That little bitch actually harmed you to this extent. She even cheated me out of a 20,000 plus bag. Piss me off. I'm going to tear her mouth off." He said he was about to rush out the door, but was stopped by Alex, who said to stop looking for it and be ashamed. My mother-in-law was furious. Just as the door was knocked, the mother-in-law held back her anger and went to open the door, only to see that it was Luna, and then the mother-in-law, who was full of anger, couldn't hold back any longer, grabbed Luna by the hair, pulled her towards the house, and started to beat her. While beating, she scolded, "You little bitch, you harmed Alex and lied to me, and you still dare to come to my door. See if I won't beat you to death." Luna wailed at the beating and cried, "Auntie, don't hit me. Don't hit me. I'm Luna. Don't hit me. You're the one who hit me. Where's your face?" It's not so bad if we don't talk about Luna, but when we think about what Alex just said, my mother-in-law gets even angrier and hits harder and harder. "Auntie, let me explain. It's all Emily's fault. Not only did she lose my job, but she got my parents divorced, and now I have no money, no job, no parents. All I have is Alex, Auntie," Luna said with a sniffle and a tear in her eye. This Ms. Lin really knows how to talk, even in broad daylight. "Thank you for lifting me up, but I'm sorry, I don't have that kind of ability. I came out at the right time to clear myself." Alex looked at her, anger growing in his eyes, and slapped her hard. "Bitch, I was the one who misjudged you, and treated you like a treasure, and went out of my way to hurt Emily, and this is how you repay me?" Luna was knocked to the ground, her face swollen high and bleeding from the corners of her mouth as they beat her mother and son, whimpering, "Alex, I didn't. It was all Emily's doing. Emily is locked up by my mom every day. How could she do this? Can't you find someone else to accuse? I saw you do all that with my own eyes." Alex was shaking with anger. Then in one fell swoop, he pulled her up, pushed her out the door, and said, "Get out. Don't let me see you again." And then closed the door. I heard Luna's cries still echoing down the hallway. I wonder if she'll be even more run down when she sees the pics and videos I posted later. That was before I used her cell phone to pull my new Facebook number into all her Facebook groups, lurking until today when it finally came in handy. Then he walked over to me and said in a hushed voice, "Emily, I'm sorry for you, for the baby we lost. Let's just get on with our lives from now on, okay?" Before I could make a sound, my mother-in-law also came over to me and took my hand and said, "Even though you don't have any money and you're not as pretty as Luna, you're more honest, so you'll have a good life with Alex from now on, huh?" I laughed coldly in my heart. The scum husband cheated on me, was cheated out of everything, came to get back together with me. I have to forgive him? Where is the face of an evil mother-in-law who wants me to get back together with his son and resents me explicitly and implicitly? I broke their hands and said coldly, "Alex, let's get a divorce." They were all shocked at my words and looked at me incredulously. "What are you talking about? Luna just betrayed me and you're going to betray me too." Alex questioned me again, full of anger. My mother-in-law was even more furious, pointing at me and saying, "Emily, you have to realize that if you divorce Alex, you'll have nothing, not even your mother's house, to go out and sleep on the street." I snorted coldly and said, "Do I have to forgive him for cheating on me? If you treat me badly, do I still have to serve you? What are you thinking? There is no such thing in heaven." Never seeming to think those words would come out of my mouth, Alex watched me blush harder and harder. He stared at me and said, "Emily, I'm not agreeing to a divorce, and I'm already doing you a favor by returning to my family." I laughed so hard that I actually laughed a few times and said, "You don't have to. I realize now how blind I was to marry you. When my mother-in-law heard me insult her son so much, she couldn't stand it and was about to come over and hit me. I dodged out of the way and backhanded her. She covered her face and and screamed, "I'm your mother-in-law. You dare to hit me? How dare you hit me? Let's see if I don't rip your mouth off." I wiped my hands, skimmed her, and said, "Sorry, you won't be in a minute." Alex held his mom up and looked at me and said viciously, "If you dare to hit my mom, I won't divorce you. I'll let you serve her all the time. You can't run away." I gave him a blank look and took out my phone, giving them a look at the pictures I had saved earlier and playing the video of them in bed, with it cranked up as loud as it would go. Their faces instantly looked bad, especially Alex, who was pale and bloodless. "You can check your Facebook again. It should be buzzing in there right now." I kindly reminded him. Alex picks up his cell phone, he takes one look at it and drops it in shock, then stands like he's been struck by lightning and won't move. My mother-in-law held him up and asked me, "What have you done?" I picked Alex's phone up and saw that the photos and videos I had thrown were being seen by everyone in several of his Facebook groups. Yes, this is what I sent from Alex's phone while they were fighting, with one click and multiple selections, to 9 group chats. Both Granny and Alex looked stunned, motionless, frozen. "Since you won't divorce me, I'm going to sue, so get ready." After saying that, I went back to my room and carried a suitcase out. These were random clothes I had packed. There wasn't much to take with me. I looked at them and left. After I got a lawyer to clear up my divorce, I traveled to a city I had always dreamed of visiting. My hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions weren't enough to buy a big house, and I went ahead and put a down payment on a turnkey suite in a moderate neighborhood. I went into bed the day after I waited to get the house straightened out. I've always loved traveling and was a modest travel blogger before I got married, and now I can finally pick up the love again. Miles and miles, a new life. Here I come.